So this is 2025 and now we are in a world of smartphones coming in month after month, even week after week, month in, month out, quarter of the year after quarter of the year. We have new flagships coming from different models. It seems like they just want to just keep on teasing us with new little subtle changes in the new phones they release, and at the end of the day you look at it critically and you ask yourself the question, is it really worth it? Now this video is probably not for everyone. I'll be reviewing a phone I've been using for like a year or two, which has been very instrumental to my creative process, and this video might be for anyone who is trying to get a new smartphone but doesn't have enough funds to afford the best of the best flagships of today and all of that. I want to show you what this phone I'm going to talk about is going to do for you if you're a creative, and how far you can go with this. Now this is strictly for people who are into the creative world. You will do stuff like are into media. Basically, if I'm a videographer and I'm a filmmaker, and sometimes I have on-demand content, especially for social media. I have a client who wants me to get work done within a day, a two, and all of that, a day or two, and I have to release the video on the go. I edit professional photos, I edit videos, and actually very nice ones that actually come out well on social media, on different viewing platforms. I'm talking about the Note 20 Ultra. This is a 2020 Samsung flagship phone. It was released in 2020, and when it was released, it was actually a very capable phone. It could do almost anything you threw at it at that time. And in 2025, I believe that this phone can actually still do most of what you need as a creative, especially if you're just growing, or you're just trying to build your brand and create content that actually can stand with professional stuff on social media and on viewing platforms. Yes, it's an old phone, and actually you can't even get software updates anymore. In this phone you just get security updates, and I think I just got the last security update maybe last month or 2 months ago, thereabouts, to the time of shooting this video. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any more security updates on this phone, but for major OS updates, you do not have that. This actually has the Android 13 and One UI 5.1, and you can't get beyond that on this phone. But talking about what this phone can do, like I said, I'm a videographer and I'm a filmmaker. I've done, I have a few short films and documentaries to my belt, and I've actually edited, sometimes even shot some client work on this phone, and the results came out very well. So let's start with the form factor of this phone. This phone is actually quite light. It's not heavy. It feels light to the hand to hold, compared with the Note 10 Plus, which I actually also have, which is actually my daily driver. I use this for my creative work. The Note 10 Plus is this. The Note 20 Ultra was the phone that came out after the Note 10 Plus. It's not so much of an upgrade to the Note 10 Plus, but for reasons such as the SD card that this phone had, I didn't want to upgrade to anything beyond this. The SD card was very important to me, and I think I'll just talk about it now. This phone has an expandable storage space, which the S21 Ultra, the S22 Ultra, up to the S25 Ultra does not have. This is actually the last Note that has an expandable storage, and that was very important as a feature for me. I needed as much storage as possible. I was working with multiple files, I was doing a lot of editing, a lot of work on the smartphone, and I needed that extra juice of storage. Even though 256 gigabytes of RAM might be, or might sound like a lot, I actually have 256 gigabytes of RAM on my Note 10 Plus, but it's actually, I've exhausted it. I'm actually using the SD card to augment that on my Note 10 Plus, and I'm also using that to augment the storage that I have on this Note 20 Ultra. Talking about the form factor, like I was talking about before, this phone is actually not heavy, it's light, and compared to the Note 10 Plus, it's actually a bit heavier, but it still feels good to hold in the hand. It has a camera bump, a very significant camera bump at the back actually, but this is not a problem for me. I feel, you know, it actually makes the phone look a bit, you know, nicer in my own opinion. It also has curved edges on the screen, which some people do not like, but I actually like the curved screens. I don't know why people don't like the curved screen. There's the glass back version and there's the ceramic version of the phone. Mine is the black, and it has the glass back. There's a ceramic version, which some people feel is more premium. I'm okay with anyone, but this one is a fingerprint magnet. There's also the S Pen on the left part of the phone. Snugly, you know, just fits with the phone. You won't even know an S Pen is there and all of that, and it feels taller compared to, you know, the Note 10 Plus and even more later editions of the Samsung flagship. But I don't even think design should actually be a problem for you. I think, you know, you should be more about the functionality of the phone, which I think is more important. So talking about the chip that comes on this phone, it comes with the Snapdragon 865 Plus, and there is the Exynos counterpart, which I do not have. I actually have the Snapdragon, you know, variant with me here, and it does most of what I need. You know, I've edited photos on this camera, on, you know, Lightroom, on this phone, you know, some really intricate editing. I've done video editing, you know, I do a lot of video editing on Power Director on this, sometimes do some CapCut editing, and actually do some color grading actually on this phone. It's not as color accurate as, you know, editing on, you know, maybe on my laptop or on a better screen. It might not be as color accurate, but it actually does most of the job well. And I can actually do, there's a feature that comes with this phone that enables me to be able to adjust the colors. So there's a pane where I can, you know, pick color adjustment and adjust the colors of the screen to what I feel is more color accurate, which might sound somehow, but for a creative like me, that's actually a very important feature. One gripe I might have with editing on this phone is just the fact that it gets hot really fast, especially when I'm funny enough, it gets hot when I'm editing photos faster, especially when I'm editing photos on Lightroom, faster than when I'm editing videos, 4K videos, 8K videos on, you know, something like Power Director and all of that. So if I'm editing very heavy raw photographs on my Lightroom application, and then I'm trying to export and all of that, it gets really hot. Sometimes I might have to export in batches so that the phone doesn't overheat and then stop exporting. So that might be one gripe I have with this. But talking about the creative process of actually editing, you know, and all of that, it does fantastically well. Talking about gaming on this phone, you know, it actually does well enough. I don't do too much of heavy gaming on this, you know, so for most games I think it actually, you know, does well. Talking about the battery life of this phone, which is actually very important, the battery life of this phone, it comes with a 4500 milliampere battery, which is 200 milliampere more than the Note 10 Plus, and it lasts the whole day. So when I got this phone, I got it refurbished, so there was kind of like a new battery inside. It came all looking new and all of that. So, and when I used it, even up till now, I still go a whole day, a full day, without having to recharge when I'm using the phone for just, you know, general use. If I do some heavy work on it, you know, it might just take maybe half to maybe about 3/4 of the day, and it does fine with that. But for most parts of the day, I get one charge to do most of what I need during the day. Comparing it to what we have today, for most phones too that we have today, they're actually a day charge kind of, you know, usage, but it might not be able to do as well, because, you know, the flagships of today actually are able to go at least more than a day, even if it's just a little bit more than a day. It would have been nice if this could do that. This is my second year of using this phone, so I'm still looking at the degradation process, whether it's degrading really bad or really fast, and so far it hasn't really, you know, degraded much. You know, it still does a day. Since the day I bought it, it still does a day and it still works fine. Talking about the functionality features of this phone, you know, the Samsung ecosystem already creates a gamut of features to help with your creative process. You know, this comes with an S Pen, which has a lot of features. You can write, you can do air actions, you can use it as a remote control, you can use it to as an artist, you can use it as an illustrative tool. Sometimes I use it as a board if I want to teach someone something and I want to do a phone recording, like a screen recording of my phone. I can use my S Pen as an illustrative tool to teach people stuff and all of it. The S Pen has a lot of advantages and I can't possibly reel out everything, because each day I even keep discovering more features and more stuff that I can do with my S Pen. Not only the S Pen, but there's a feature called Samsung Dex, which at some point was actually going to be discontinued by Samsung recently. I think they mentioned in late 2024 that they were going to discontinue Samsung Dex. I don't know if that has happened, but Samsung Dex has been a very important tool for me. Samsung Dex basically helps me to project the screen of my phone to my laptop, not just project it, but actually use everything. As I use it on my phone, I can actually use it on the system and have a PC experience of my Android apps, of the features of my phone, of basically everything on my phone. I can have the experience of a PC but using my Android apps. That is invaluable. So I can have the luxury of being able to have my Android apps projected on my screen and use all the features just as if I were using it on my phone, but just without advantage of a real estate screen. It's something that I feel many creatives might be sleeping on. If you have a Samsung phone, you might be sleeping on just using Samsung Dex. Most of Samsung's flagship have it. I don't know if the other phones have it, but the flagships, they all have it. Coming to the camera, which I'm sure most of you probably want to hear about. Now, it's obvious that the camera is outdated. It's a 2020 phone, of course, but it's still quite good. I've shot a lot of content on this phone. I've shot even client content on this phone and it does absolutely well, very well. In fact, the difference between, and I'll probably link a video that actually compares this exact phone with the S25 Ultra to compare the camera to each other. I'll put it either on the screen or in the description. If you know how to harness the cameras on this phone, you will have no problems at all. One thing that most smartphone cameras do today is that they have a lot of computing process going on to make a smartphone picture look better and all of that. And in the process of doing that, sometimes even in flagships of today, you have a lot of misrepresentation of how the image actually looks. You have a lot of over sharpening, it doesn't look natural. The skies are looking bluish more bluish than they should look like. Sometimes it may look more purple, may look more magenta and all of that and everything. But the idea is that most of them still depend on a lot of computing, and for this phone and for the kind of sensor that actually comes with the cameras, you can get something that can actually still stand the test of time today in smartphone photography. I can tell you that for sure. I've shot a lot of beautiful images, some of them you're seeing on the screen right now, and it has always delivered. When I ensure that all other parameters like the lighting, the angle, the shot frame and everything of the picture, of the video I want to take, when I ensure that those things are well done, I actually get the best out of this smartphone. Talking about the specifics of the lenses that this phone comes with, it actually comes with a 108 megapixel main sensor, a 12 megapixel 5x optical zoom lens, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens. The front camera, the selfie camera, is actually not all that fantastic, as it's just a 10 megapixel lens, which is actually the same lens that we have in the previous year Note 10 Plus. It has a pro video mode that has plenty enough customization features. You can adjust your ISO, you can adjust, you know, your white balance, you can adjust, you know, your focusing and all of that. And it also has 8K video mode. It shoots in 8K 30 frames per second, which some phones today don't even have. This still shoots 8K. While I wouldn't use 8K all that much because I feel it's basically mostly gimmicky, I feel for a lot of people that is actually plenty good for extracting as much information from a shot as possible. Of course, you have to deal with humongous files, and I feel that's where the expandable storage comes in. When you have expandable storage, you're not worrying about storage space. You see where I'm going with this. Even the microphones on this phone are fantastic. They capture great audio. By the way, I've shot a lot of Instagram reels using this, you know, talking headshots. I put my phone in front of me, even using the selfie camera, which isn't all that fantastic, and I've got great results with this phone. Coming to the last aspect of this video is talking about the price of this phone today. Now I live in Nigeria currently, and when I bought this phone, I think the price was around 450,000 naira thereabout. But now that you have, you know, newer flagships and all of that, so it might have become even cheaper. So you might be able to get this refurbished at 400,000 naira or less, maybe 370 or thereabout, depending on the feature that you have on it. It's 12 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of internal storage. There's a 256 gigabyte model, and there's also the 8 gigabytes of RAM model also. So depending on which combination you go for, basically that can determine the price. And also, if you're getting the Exynos version, I don't know why it's generally more expensive, probably because the Exynos version usually comes with a 12 gigabyte 256 the 12 gigabyte RAM, 256 gigabyte storage. If you're buying this used, you can actually even get it much cheaper. You can get it maybe around 350,000 naira or even less. And if you think you can't still afford getting this Note 20 Ultra, there's the Note 10 Plus, which actually still performs almost as, you know, good as the Note 20 Ultra. It has almost all the features that the Note 20 Ultra has. It's just a bit less capable than the Note 20 Ultra. I used to do all my creative process on the Note 10 Plus before I upgraded to the Note 20 Ultra. The difference is not all that. It's very marginal. You can get the Note 10 Plus probably for around 300,000 naira or less. So that's basically it. I hope I've been able to make my case for the Note 20 Ultra kind of clear. See you in the next one.